Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I'll be reacting to one of the early uploads from my YouTube channel, the game Theorists. This video came out in 2014, so I think it's around 7 years ago. Let's start. Wow, it immediately said warning. That is not a good sign.
Warning, the following video may contain scenes of ancient artistic nudity that will be purely factual in nature and decidedly not arousing in any way, shape, or form. If you expect to be tantalized, titillated, or otherwise thrilled, you will not be.
So, it might not be as family friendly as we normally are in this channel.
Unless you have a strange affinity for thought-provoking discussion on classical antiquity, in which case, go wild. Anyway, viewer discretion is advised.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that likes to keep you on your toes by saying we'll do part 2 on the Wii U, but then decide to push that off till next week. Maybe it's a strategic decision, or maybe I just get distracted easily, like a squirrel chasing nuts. This is already shaping up to be a fun one. Now, I don't know about you guys,
Maybe you're being naughty,
but recently I've been smitten with SMITE. It's a free-to-play, multiplayer online battle arena game, MOBA for short. And if the acronym MOBA also brings to mind more letters like LOL and DOTA, you'd be RIGHT. But SMITE is different than the rest of the alphabet soup. Oh sure, there are still the requisite 3 lanes and central jungle area that I, as an admitted noob to the genre, still have no clue what to do with, but the key design feature that makes SMITE stand out from the MOBA crowd
You just circle around the same place.
is that it's set in the third person rather than from a top-down perspective. That simple camera change makes the game feel much faster and incredibly more action-packed, like a satisfying mix of God of War, Lemmings, and Bloons Tower Defense. So, a free game with unique and satisfying action, definitely the reason I started playing. But what really sold me was the concept. Hi-Res Studios, the developer and publisher of the game, made a ballsy decision to have their versions of heroes, champions, mega evolutions be gods from various religions and mythologies, ranging from Chinese and Egyptian to Norse, Hindu, and even Mayan.
Wow, that's a lot of different.
It's like a Super Smash Bros. Crusade edition.
Yes.
Now, as someone who appreciates a smart game, this was certainly something that I instantly latched onto. Seeing both visual and behavioral references to the character's source material was something I really liked, and being exposed to gods I'd never heard of, like the Mayan, Shak? Cha'ak? Hek?
Shock.
Shock?
Shark, God of Rain.
AKA Thor with a lightning axe, was pretty darn awesome. But not everyone was as appreciative as I was. In 2012, the game started to come under fire from some members of the Hindu community, upset that their deities were included as playable characters. The goddess Kali became the central figure in this debate, as news blogs chided SMITE for her over-sexualization, calling her a victim of pornification for the sake of attracting a young male demographic. Hi-Res stayed firm at first, but eventually had to change a few of the character designs in response to the outcry. My question, though, is this. Were they actually wrong? Is the design of Kali and the other shapely females of the SMITE universe merely slices of video game cheesesteak? Sorry, cheesecake. Two very different things there. Or was this a case of a misinformed media looking for a hot story and ignoring all the facts? Let's start with Kali, since she's the focal point of the controversy. Looking at her original character design, she's
Yeah.
What was I saying? Yeah. Let's just say the underboob is strong with this one. So at first glance, I could see why people were in a titty over... Whew, okay,
Maybe you're being very naughty in this episode.
So at first glance, I could see why people were in a tizzy about this design, but then look at this. This is a classic representation of Kali, so is this. And this one too. Notice anything about the way she's portrayed? Or rather, don't notice anything, like clothes, for example. In most depictions, Kali is clad with just a skirt and a well-placed necklace of skulls. In fact, she's quite beautiful for a multi-armed, blue-skinned, snake-tongued god adorned in severed heads and limbs. But hey, maybe you're into that sort of thing. You see, it all goes back to Kali's lore in Hinduism. Kali is Sanskrit for she who is black, and is commonly associated with death, violence, sexuality, and motherly love. Huh. One of these things is not like the other. Anyway, she first appears in Sanskrit culture during a battle between the goddess Durga and the demon... Oh, jeez. Raktabija? Raktabija? Rock me, Amadeus.
Rock the beach.
Whatever they just said. AKA Bloodseed. Much cooler.
Wow.
Every time Durga struck the demon, drops of blood would fall to the ground and a clone of, the Rock would form. Can I just say what an awesome boss battle this sounds like, by the way? Anyway, in a move straight out of Final Fantasy, Durga used Angry Brow, and her furrowed forehead summoned Kali. Kali literally used Lick to catch the drops of blood, which prevented any more of the clones from forming, allowing Durga and Kali to win the battle, gain 3,000 EXP, and 10 gold. With this being Kali's most
That's not an RPG, come on.
famous story, the original moveset Hi-Rez gave her in SMITE mirrored this lore, specifically the move Siphon Blood. See, she captured blood in the story to defeat her enemies, and she siphons blood in the game to also defeat her enemies. Historical references at work. So the moveset, coupled with the severed heads, the blue skin, multiple arms, curved blades, all in all, SMITE's characterization of Kali closely resembles the historical inspiration, accusing the game of pornifying her when the source material is already topless seems a bit extreme. But Kali isn't the only goddess here with a design that leaves little to the imagination, so maybe there's more evidence of pornifying at work. Try, alright, ancient cultures, man, I love them, but the names just kill me. Neth. It's gotta be Neth, right? No? Neith. Jesus.
I was correct, Neith.
Oh man, he should totally be in this game as a healer. No? Alright, give it time. Anyway, Neith is one of my favorite characters in the game and is labeled as the Egyptian Weaver of Fate. If Kali's ult was underboob, our Egyptian archer here is spamming the side. But again, is this just fan service for the frequenters of DeviantArt? To Hi-Rez's credit, it isn't. Check out the way she was portrayed throughout ancient Egyptian art. Oh yeah, look at that. Whew, it's like Playboy 2600 BC.
2600 BC.
Seriously though, again we see a beautiful, well-figured goddess who just so happens to be topless. And this is perfectly normal for the time. Ancient Egyptian women often wore simple sheath dresses called caliceres. The dresses were held up by 1 or 2 straps and were worn down to the ankle, while the upper edge could be worn above, or in this case, below the breasts. Beading was often used for embellishment. Of course, a game can't have topless women in tight sheath dresses, shimmying from lane to lane, so Hi-Rez did the tasteful thing and covered Neith with something fitting for her origins, draping her in a light linen cloth, which was a common material throughout ancient Egypt, then embellishing her with beads and adding strap-like detailing to harken back to those old dresses. The thing on her head? Well, Neith was the goddess of war and of hunting. As such, she had as her symbol 2 arrows crossed over a shield. In ancient Egyptian art, she's often wearing that emblem on her head.
Really?
See the 2 arrows and shield? Okay, so maybe there's a bit of artistic license there. But still, Hi-Rez recreated that exact emblem right there. And the similarities are more than just pixels deep. True to her origin as goddess of hunting, Neith is an archer in the game. Then why, do you ask, is she called the Weaver of Fate? Well, apparently we're not the only one to have a difficult time telling what that thing on her head is. I mean, an oval and 2 curvy lines doesn't scream to me shield and 2 arrows.
A Green Lantern arrow, logo.
Anyway,
A cucumber with legs.
Later generations of Egyptians had a hard time telling what that was too, because her symbol looked a bit like a weaving loom when you squinted at it in the right light, and because her name spelled out in hieroglyphics included a character that looked very similar to a device used for weaving. Later generations of Egyptians just assumed that she was also a goddess of weaving. In fact, this resulted in a complete class change. She went from being a water-based deity, representative of the waters of creation, to the goddess responsible for weaving the entire world into existence on her loom. SMITE took this whole backstory and ran with it, giving her powers to represent both of her forms. Spirit Arrow to represent the Huntress, and World Weaver, Unravel, and Broken Weave to represent the seamstress of the world. Overall, an accurate and all-encompassing portrayal. It seems like the only thing they didn't include a reference to was that she's sometimes pictured nursing a baby crocodile. Why they didn't include any reference to that
Baby crocodile? Why?
is beyond me. So the game is batting 2 for 2. Sports reference, gamer reference. GG, Smite, GG. But surely, Smite's rendering of Aphrodite must be pure cheesecake, right? I mean, she's got like frilly hooker boots and sexy blonde hair all tied up. A clear case of pornification, right? Let's see how she normally looked. Wait, okay, stop it. Hey, this is admittedly artistic mastery, okay, but still we live in a puritanical age. This stuff is not fit for the eyes of the YouTube audience, alright?
He literally just said this is not this is not suitable for the for the YouTube audience.
Seriously, who do you think we are? Arabic Boobs TV? All false modesty aside though, hopefully we've proven a point here. Female figures in religion and mythology, whether you're talking Kali, Aphrodite, or even the Virgin Mary, represent femininity, fertility, and motherhood. Because let's face it, women are different than men. Their bodies do different things and they should be celebrated for it. These figures represent idealized females for their respective societies, and oftentimes the exaggeration of their sexual attributes were meant to reflect their roles as beautiful women. Aphrodite, Greek goddess of love, beauty, pleasure, and procreation, of course she's gonna be pictured in the nude with voluptuous curves, just like she is in the game. Well, except for the whole nude part. The flowing blonde hair tied up like that, it's erotic because it's meant to be. It's a reference to Botticelli's painting, The Birth of Venus. And the frilly hooker boots, a clear reference to her being born from the sea. See how they look like fins? Happily, there's no reference to the backstory there, where Cronus cuts off Uranus's little space rocket meteorites, throwing them all into the sea, which results in Aphrodite rising from the sea foam. That would require a much different character skin. Speaking of, I prefer Aphrodite myself. So overall, quite contrary to the claims of this being shameless pandering to a male audience, the way Smite designed and equipped its characters was well in line with both the goddess's lore and historical depictions. In an industry filled with cup sizes larger than the national debt, Smite took the high road and made female characters that had powers beyond jiggle physics. Reading through the website is a prime example of tangential learning at its finest. It's clear the designers took great care to consider every aspect of the god's lore when creating these pages. That said, look at the new design for Kali. She looks like a female Valkyrie, feeling much more Norse than Hindu. Her attacks are fine, but nothing feels uniquely her own, tying back to that origin story we talked about. The tragic irony of this whole controversy is that before she was Kali, goddess of destruction, fueled by blood and war, now she's a melee assassin with high single target damage. By demanding the character change because they were afraid of her being a stereotype, they turned the character into what they most feared: a stereotype. So what have we learned today? Hopefully a lot, but if there's one moral to the story, I think it's this. From here on out, video game industry, you should strive to treat every female character like a goddess. But hey, that's just a theory.
Buy boots of magic. Doesn't find feet. Doesn't have feet.
A game theory. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to
Super amazing encore tournament!
the Super Amazing End Card Tournament after a long hiatus. Last time, if you can remember that far back, you overwhelmingly chose to have your leg ripped off and get beaten to death with it, rather than getting an explosive punch to the groin. All I can say to that result is, This week we're playing the 8-bit dating game. Who would you rather take out on a date? Kali, Neith, or Aphrodite? I don't know, they're all pretty intimidating if you ask me. Or if you prefer males, Shock, he makes it rain, Thunder Axe, or Thor's second fiddle to Loki, Thunder Hammer. Click on one to choose, and next week, the thrilling conclusion to the Virtual Boy Wii U episode. Talk to you again in a few days.
It's like Stormbreaker and Millionaire, something like that. Alright, that's awesome. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you like it. I really enjoyed myself. Not for the reason that you might think of. Yeah, definitely pure educational. If you do like that video, please go ahead and consider subscribing, supporting them. Show appreciation to them. If you do like my videos, please consider to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching this video. But hey, that's just a theory, a game theory. Thanks for watching.